Blessings to you, fam. This is Lemuel Muniz Jackson. Thanks so much for clicking in here at Through the Looking Glass. What do we have for you today? Well, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to give you a little insight on the thinking of the outgoing president of the United States, Joe Biden. He's made some comments just recently that I think, for anyone who's really paying attention, gives you a bird's eye um, view and understanding of how he really thinks about his legacy, his appeal to the American people, and his ability to have continued to, if you will, lead this country. Um, some very interesting insights, and I think you guys would be. Um, I think it'll be very interesting to you. I found it very interesting that he's really this far gone, and that's all I can say.
Over 2 months since Election Day, and President Biden still believes he and his Vice President, Kamala Harris, could have beaten President-elect Trump.
I think I would have beaten Trump, could have beaten Trump, and I think that Kamala could have beaten Trump, would have beaten Trump. It wasn't about, I thought it was important to unify the party.
I'm sorry. If she could have, then she would have. She didn't beat him because she couldn't, despite the basically what $1 billion+ that she had at her disposal to in fact do just that. No, she couldn't have. And dear God, my friend, neither could you have. But I digress.
Well, let's think about this. This is not a theoretical exercise.
Okay? Yeah.
Kamala could have beaten Trump, would have beaten Trump. She did not beat Trump, Rachel.
She did not beat Trump. I don't think he knows that Obama actually pushed him out. Like, I don't know if he even knows what's going on. But you know what I do believe? I mean, he says, I dropped out for unity. That's not true. He got pushed out. Everyone knows that. But people do want unity. And if you look at Donald Trump's party, the way he's remade it, he's got RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and he's got a multiracial working class party behind him. That's unity. So many of the issues, whether it's, anti-war or at least, putting America's interests first in the war question, whether it's, make America healthy again. There are so many issues that used to be Democrat issues that are now bipartisan issues. I think people are going to be really surprised. I think the second term is going to be about unity. Everything that Joe Biden promised he would do in the 2020, Donald Trump's going to do it in the next term.
And you see more Democrats coming on board.
Yeah.
10 more voted for the Lake and Riley Act this time around versus last.
And after this LA fire, when people look at what government's for, competence versus ideology, I think you're going to see more people coming over.
I agree with
without question.
Yeah, I absolutely, in fact, agree as well. What has happened here is that, thankfully, the American electorate has, to a large degree, awakened from its woke slumber, where things like our all sorts of identity choices were the things that we were supposed to allow our vote to be determined by, not practical things like safety and security, not practical things like the economy and our opportunity to create more wealth and live a better life. None of these things, it was really all about identity politics, and that is what was pushed for so long. And we had gotten into, I believe, what was just a stupor. But hopefully, what we see here in the election results and the sort of coalition of of people that the young lady there was just talking about, all rallying around, kitchen table issues, is America waking up to that, in which is really important. But here we go. There's more to be said here about Joe Biden.
Question. Emily, when Biden says he could have beaten Trump, I thought we'd pull up the data. So let's pull up the Real Clear Politics average. This is the last data set we have. And as you can see, Donald Trump would have beaten him, according to polls, by 3.1%, which is double what he beat Kamala by.
I think that is part and parcel with why he is so insulted and injured and wounded over being pushed out. I do believe he actually truly believes he could have beaten Trump. And then obviously the Kamala point, you guys heard me, like belly laughed. But the reality is, I think in his temper tantrum that he's exhibiting now, in the dumpster fire that he is leaving President Trump, to me, that is his party ensuring that his legacy is indeed far, far, far left. And it's interesting because, to your point, I think that the rational, common sense Democrat voter, the moderates that represent hopefully the majority of that party, that they will come on board. They will see the positive effects, the benefits of the common sense GOP and Trump platform, right, that spreads to all boats lifting. But with their closing Gitmo, with the offshore drilling, with the ridiculous pardons, all of that to me speaks that they are trying to ensure that they can say that Biden's legacy is an extension of Obama's, which is a completely perverted other world of anything and completely antithetical to American values. But that's what they're trying to do. So I do think it'll be interesting to see whether that works 4 years from now, as they try to curry the votes of the extreme far left to say, well, look, this is what he did during his office, which really is the last month of his office.
Yeah, I just don't see how, if things go well, and the way we're all hoping and anticipating the next 4 years are going, because we do have the one thing about Trump is he has already a template for what we have all seen as real success. By all metrics, his first administration was an absolute. It was a rocket. It propelled us forward in so many areas. Just it was incredible. And undid a lot of the harm that had been done in the previous two administrations. Well, yes, same guy, Obama, but within his both of his administrations. But I do want to go back though to something here that she just hit on. I want to talk to you about this. She says that. And I think she's absolutely right. He really does believe in his heart of hearts that he would have won had he not been pushed aside. Now, that whole thing about, putting the party first and, passing the baton to the next, generation and all that. He knows bloody well that that's just things that he has to say to keep face and so forth. He knows exactly what happened. So I don't agree that that he doesn't know that it was, Obama and Pelosi, in fact, that then, pushed him out. Of course, he knows. But more to my point here is he honestly believes that he would have beat Trump here in 2024. And my whole thing is, well, of course he does. Why wouldn't he believe that? He actually believes that he won fair and square in 2020. He's always believed it. Yeah, Joe Biden has been, for the last 4 years, little more than a figurehead for those who are really in power, the same folks who are making these last minute decisions and telling him to commute this and sign these awful executive orders, anything and everything to sort of try to henpeck Donald Trump coming back in. The same folks. He has been basically a rubber stamp. for the last 4 years. He was a puppet going in. He was a puppet going into the primaries of 2020. If you remember, it wasn't until he got to South Carolina where everybody within the Democratic and the DNC basically got behind him and did the same thing to Bernie Sanders that they did with Hillary Clinton, because up until that time, uh, nobody was feeling Joe Biden. Bernie Sanders was trouncing him, and we had every reason to believe, of course, that he would continue to do so. They were keeping him away from the cameras. They were keeping him off the campaign trail. Um, they were sequestering him. The legacy media would do nothing more than ask him what his favorite ice cream flavor was. The whole thing was a sham from the very beginning. And now, here we go, 2024, and out of all the stuff that we know about the Zuck Bucks and the stuffing of those ballot boxes everywhere, the things we actually saw on camera ourselves that night in Philly, and even beyond that, Kamala Harris, I think somewhere right now, they count, depending on who you're talking to or where you're getting the count from. It's basically estimated that somewhere between 16 and 18 million people, less people, I should say, voted for Kamala Harris than they did during COVID 2020 shutdown and Joe Biden. Okay. Where are all and he of course believes it. Why wouldn't he? Because he's puffed up, and he always believed in himself, and not only his ability, but his right, his right to be the next one up. And that's how I think a lot of these politicians get when they're in uh, in Congress and in the Senate for so long. They have a feeling of entitlement that it is their time, and that's exactly what it was with him. And so there's just no way to explain how in 2020 Joe Biden out of nowhere gets more African American votes in this country than Barack Obama. That he got 18 million more, 18 million more, somewhere there's about legal American citizen voters to vote for him, that somehow did not vote for Kamala, who made the decision to just stay home, because the numbers in terms of how many people came out to vote uh, for the Democrats, and this time and last time, it's really different. So I think Biden really believes that he actually won in 2020, so he had every expectation that he would win in 2024, and that's all because he has bought, and always did buy into, his own party's propaganda concerning himself and the administration. Okay. If you are one of these sad folks out there who still believes, knowing everything that we know today, the facts that we know today about the 2020 election and the things that were done, if you are someone out there who still truly believes that Trump legitimately lost that election, God bless you. There's hope for you. There really is. Pray seriously, seek the Lord. He can turn things around for you. I guarantee it. but there's no reason why he shouldn't have believed. You know, right? My point there is that he absolutely had every reason to believe that he would have gone on and secured another puppet show for the next 4 years. So, but there's more to be more to be had here. Let me just hold up and just get this going again.
Jason, what Emily said is very important, that Biden believes he could have beaten Trump. And I do agree with that. Wall Street Journal had 50 sources, 50, and they talked about pollsters being kept away from Biden. And this part stands out. This was in a summer meeting. Democratic insiders became alarmed by the way Biden described his polling, publicly characterizing the race as a toss-up when polls released in the weeks after the disastrous June debate consistently showed Trump ahead. They worried he wasn't getting an unvarnished look at his standing in the race. They kept him in a cocoon.
Yeah.
Well, he's just delusional. I mean, my opinion, he's just delusional. If he thinks that Kamala Harris would have beaten Trump, but for what? He spent more than 40% of his time away from the White House. Doing what? And the long-term problem here for Democrats is they're void of ideas. Their ideas failed. They were wrong on everything. They were wrong on crime and immigration, on the foreign policy. And I think Joe Biden is going to take 2 speeches this week, at least read a teleprompter, to try to gaslight and rewrite history, to try to frame it in such a way that really isn't a reflection of reality.
I couldn't have said it better. I couldn't have said it better. These are the very points that I was saying that America woke up and was like, hey, no, it isn't about these things. It is not about, making biological men able to compete in women's college. It is not about, um, uh, you know, bringing anybody and everyone over, in the name of, political refugee status when it's not even proven. It's not about circumventing our border laws so that we, can just allow anyone and everyone to come in. We had security issues, we had economic issues, all of these things. Uh, uh, they were wrong on every single point that Americans felt, and I don't know how much that resonates with them now, because I think to a certain degree the left will always be the left. The extreme left is always going to be the extreme. They know nothing else, even when they are rejected wholeheartedly out of hand as they were here in the 2024 election. They have no place to go. Like he said, it's not that they don't have ideas, it's just that their ideas are bankrupt. And the American people have seen, they've had a belly full of it, and they've seen that what they are selling, the American people absolutely want no more of. And that's where we are. But Joe Biden, God bless his heart, he really does believe what he believes. He really does believe that he could have won this thing again. And I don't know what that would have looked like, honestly. I know I don't want to know what it would have been. I mean, I don't want to know what that would have been like. I prayed wholeheartedly that he was not given another opportunity to, be president for another 4 years. And then when Kamala was ushered in a very undemocratic way, according to their own rules and so forth, no, there was nothing there either that would have made me want to, I don't know, entertain the idea that just because she's someone who has a certain amount of melanin in her skin, that somehow made her more competent than we had perceived her over the last 8 years. The thing about Kamala is it's crazy about it because up until the election cycle started going in full vigor, Democrats were looking for ways to see if it was possible to dump her from the ticket to get somebody else more competent, someone else who had a better reputation in as vice president to help the ticket. Then all of a sudden she winds up as being at the top of the ticket, and her entire um, her entire resume over the last 8 years gets redone, polished up, rewritten. I mean, the transformation was absolutely staggering. Of course, nobody believed it. Well, maybe there's always some that are going to believe it, but I'm gonna tell you what I saw in terms of how they were just reinventing this woman as we all went along, as the days went by. Everybody, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSLSD, because those folks are just absolutely, my God, there are a lot of deranged folks in media. Take The View, for instance. Can you be more deranged than those people? I don't think so. Uh, non-violently deranged? No. No. They are on, whoop, whoop, they have they have left the planet. Let me tell you, they're in orbit somewhere. They're gone. But yeah, but there she is, all nice, dressed up, repackaged, and they're selling it. They're selling her. And we weren't having it. The American people weren't having it. My heart breaks because honestly, he really believes this. I mean, I honestly think he really believes this. It's beyond the point where he is telling a lie for the shelter of the lie. He is really, really sold out to his own propaganda. He believes it. Listen to what he says here.
Look, let's get something in mind about the border. When I became president, the numbers came way down, number one. Number two, we had a circumstance where I pushed very hard for a bipartisan agreement to put more people on the border, more Secret Service agents. And guess what? He's on the phone saying, don't do it, make me look bad. Look, let's get something in mind about the border. When I became president, the numbers came way down, number one. Number two.
Well, that was worth hearing again anyway. When he says when he came into office, in terms of the number of illegal crossings at the border, once he got into office, man, those numbers came way down. When, of course, the exact opposite is true. We believe that there's something north of 10 million illegal immigrants that have come over, not just come over through the southern border. This guy, as many of you may remember, they were flying them in to various cities in strategic places and strategic states, all right? In the dead of night, under the cover of darkness. And of course, the purpose for that was very simple. They wanted to change. The idea would be that these people would be, voters, that they would go in and they would vote not only in the 2024 election, but any election that then came there afterwards. And they would be grateful to do so because those who they voted for would be the ones that were keeping them on the government teat, so they would not, in effect, bite the hand that literally fed them, housed them, clothed them. And meanwhile, we have homeless veterans who can't get appointments with the VA. No. But he believes his own propaganda, and it's sad. But we're looking for a brand new administration. Forgive the voice. I've had a really bad cold over the last week or so. Um, we are looking forward to the new administration and very excited about um, the recovery, of our country in a number of areas. It's going to take time, but I am encouraged uh, that we, through this election, got on, I think, on the right path again. So I will be here with you as the weeks go by, reporting on any number and every number of topics and issues that we are all affected by as American citizens. If again this content is the sort of content that you find value in, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it, and we will continue to bring you some analysis and earnest opinion. Thanks.